There was a time when the animals lived together in a vast and beautiful jungle. Birds chirped sweet songs in the morning, monkeys pulled tricks on one another, and even the usually sluggish tortoise smiled from time to time. Laughter rang in the trees, danced in the rivers, and spread through every nook and cranny of the land. But in this world of laughter and delight, there was one animal who did not laugh, did not chuckle, and barely even smiled. Edgar, the elephant. Edgar was the mightiest beast in the jungle. He loomed over everyone, his tusks glinting in the golden sunlight, his voice deep as thunder. But no matter how funny a joke was, how playful the young animals were, or how silly the monkeys acted, Edgar stayed serious. He would just shake his head and say, "There is nothing funny about life." The animals tried to cheer him up at first. The parrots sang him the funniest songs they knew how to sing. The monkeys showboated, swinging by their tails and making silly faces. The hyenas, famous for their impossible guffaws, shared their best stories with him. But Edgar remained unmoved. Eventually, the animals resigned themselves to the idea that Edgar just wasn't meant to laugh. All except one, Felix, the clever little fox. Felix viewed the world differently. He was convinced that there was a laugh inside of everybody. It had just to do with the way to bring it out. So Felix put his foot down, and he was going to make Edgar laugh at all costs. The following morning, Felix executed Plan 1. He set several banana peels down in Edgar's natural place of walking, then hid behind a bush, counting down until the moment when Edgar stepped on the banana peels. Edgar stepped forward, and his big foot landed on the very first banana peel. Felix held his breath, anticipating the giant elephant to fall and trip. Instead, Edgar only stalled, looking down, and sliding his foot out of the way. Then he added with a tiny frown, "Someone left their garbage here. How careless." Felix sighed as he observed Edgar flick the peels aside with his trunk and keep walking like nothing had happened. Not the response he had been looking for, but Felix is no quitters type of guy. If pranks wouldn't make a dent, a little magic might. The next day, Felix borrowed large, juicy mango from a friendly monkey. Carrying it in his paws, he ran over to Edgar. "Edgar, watch closely," Felix called out. "I have a mango right here, but poof, it's gone." Felix flicked his tail, concealed the mango behind his back, and extended his paws like wings, pretending it had magically vanished. Edgar blinked at him. "You just hid it behind you." Felix's ears drooped. "Well, yes, but not funny. Now go away." And with that, Edgar left. Felix groaned. It proved more difficult than he expected. Felix sat by the river that evening, staring at his reflection in the water. Was it really so impossible to get Edgar to laugh? Number. He refused to believe that. He just had to try harder. The following afternoon, Felix decided to try something different. Perhaps instead of a prank or a magic trick, he might attempt something physical. He went to Polly the parrot and took the softest and fluffiest feathers she had. After that, he waited for Edgar to take his daily nap beneath the large mango tree. Then, when Edgar finally settled down, Felix tiptoed over and poked a feather near Edgar's trunk. The feather grazed against Edgar's big, tender nose. Edgar did twitch his trunk a bit and stayed asleep. Felix smiled and tickled him again. Edgar's nostrils wiggled and his trunk unwound, like it was attempting to shove the smelly feeling away. Felix bit down on his lip, trying not to chuckle. He gave Edgar one final tickle and Edgar sneezed. A great big booming sneeze that knocked Felix back 1/2 meter into a nearby bush. Leaves, in all directions. Felix's coat was prickling like an alarmed porcupine. The monkeys perched in the trees began to laugh. Even the phones cracked up in laughter. Felix laughed and flicked the leaves off his tail. But when he glanced at Edgar, he saw the same grim expression as ever. There was no need, Edgar mumbled before turning over and returning to sleep. Felix sighed and laid down with his head in his paws. This can't be happening, he said. But fate had other plans for him. That evening, Felix was walking him by the riverbank when he spotted Edgar standing next to a tall, thin coconut tree. The large elephant was rubbing his back against it, attempting to scratch an itch. Felix hung back, observing with curiosity. Edgar lurched back and forth, using the tree as a scratching post. But there was a problem. The tree was way too thin for an elephant his size. Back and forth, back and forth. Felix tilted his head. Edgar sounded like a dancing duck. It was almost funny. And then, suddenly, crack! The tree snapped in half. Edgar's eyes grew wide as he lost his footing. His front legs scrabbled to hold on, but his rear legs slid forward. He writhed a moment, trunk thrashing about. And then, thud! Edgar fell squarely on his rear end in the soft, muddy riverbank. There was silence for a beat. Felix gasped. Was Edgar hurt? Then came a deep, rumbling sound through the jungle, to everyone's surprise. It wasn't a growl. It wasn't a sigh. It was laughter. A big, booming, belly-shaking laugh. Felix's ears perked up. Had he done it? The monkeys in the trees stopped swinging, open-mouthed with shock. The parrots had come to a fluttering stop. Even the notoriously slow-reacting tortoise blinked in awe. And then it was, suddenly, laughter reigned. Felix started laughing. The monkeys joined in, the birds, the squirrels, even the normally grouchy crocodile LOL'd. The whole jungle was filled with laughter soon. Edgar wiped away a tear from his eye. I have to say, that was quite funny. Felix grinned. See? It seems like laughter makes the best out of everything. From then on, Edgar was no longer the cranky elephant. Big, strong, and wise he remained. But now he was also the elephant who could laugh. And all because of one clever little fox who never lost hope.